Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2025, and wow, we got a lot to talk about here. We got a big winter storm possible this weekend, later this weekend, and very cold air coming in the long range as well. After this weekend, it's just going to keep the cold air is just going to keep reloading and keep coming into the area. And if you saw some of the posts from yesterday, the GFS went completely crazy. I think it got an early New Year's Eve. Basically, got drunk last night. It was throwing out numbers 15 to 20 below zero through most of northern Arkansas, all the way over to Tennessee, Kentucky, and wind chills of 40 below zero. We just hope that doesn't verify. But if you're just now joining us, please click that like button, comment where you're from, and share this with your friends and family. And if you're not following the page, go ahead and hit that follow button over on Facebook. If you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's basically like following a page on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button, hit all for notifications, and then you'll be notified every time we go live or post video content over on YouTube. All right, we have a lot to talk about, like I said. Now, the models have trended north. If you look at the deterministic models, you're a modelologist instead of those meteorologists out there that hinge on every model run thinking this is the gospel. Well, I'm going to show you why that you shouldn't do that, okay? Because we have a lot of spread on model ensembles where this low pressure could be. And I'm going to show you what is going on with that and what the difference is on the southern track versus northern track, the possibilities of the winter weather that's coming. All right, let's take a look at the latest. All right, let's take a look at what's actually happening today. Basically, we have Not much going on. There's a little bit. There's system coming through the northeastern parts of the United States. We got winter storm warnings out here for parts of West Virginia into Maryland and the higher elevations, and then wind advisories out here towards Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and parts of New York. Back here in the mountains of Colorado, winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings out there, and the same up here in the northeast or northwest parts of the United States. Really, not a lot going on, but that's about to change as we head into this weekend. All right, so you all probably wondering where the heck is this storm system and where it's coming from, and why are the models all over the place lately? Well, this system is over the Pacific Ocean, and there's no upper data coming in from it because there's no weather balloons or anything feeding the models. So the models are just playing an educated guess here on where this track of the system is going to go. It left basically Japan, which is over here, about 2.5 days ago, and it was getting sampled over there, and that's why we were getting that southerly track. And then all of a sudden, it basically departed out, and now it's over open waters. It's not getting sampled. Nothing's really happening on it. So models are doing an educated guess, which some of these models are pretty warm bias. So we expected, if you're a supporter, we talked about this yesterday, how we expected the track to come further north. Now, the piece of energy that's coming is right here. It's over the north central Pacific Ocean. Nothing's getting sampled. This is going to be going towards the northwest coast here as we go towards Friday. I'm going to show you that on our vorticity, 500 millibar vorticity chart here in just a second, and when that comes on shore. So when that comes on shore, we'll finally get a sample up into it, get that into models, and we'll be better in agreement on where this track will actually go. Because as you know, wintertime, track is key on who gets the heavy snow, who gets ice, who gets heavy rain, and possibly even severe weather on the southern side of it. So let's get in. Let me show you this 500 millibar vorticities really quick here. All right, here is the 500 millibar pattern and the vorticities. You can see where the energy's at, and I showed you on the satellite picture where that energy was over the Pacific, and here it is right here. And this is going to start wrapping up into a low pressure system and hit the west coast here as we go into midday Friday. So this is going to come on shore around midday Friday, and that's when we'll start getting samples on this system so we can better track on where this track is going to actually go. Now, if you've been watching the deterministic models, you saw how the past 2 days it went from a southerly track where a lot of basically Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, over towards Tennessee was getting some snow, freezing rain, even down to central Arkansas was getting some pretty decent freezing rain. And then all of a sudden, this went over towards the Pacific Ocean. No data is getting collected on it, and trends are further north on this as well. And I'm going to show you the model spread here as well with the latest 12 Zulu data from GFS, Euro, and Canadian. All right, so as that system comes on shore Friday, it's going to basically do a handoff into the Central Rockies here. And then, as you can see, low pressure starts to develop here and then rockets southeast. And then that's when we have a nice clustering of lows. This is the GFS. I'm going to go over every model here in just a second. So we have a nice clustering, which is good. Great, good, not great, basically consistency on where the low, when you get to low pressures all clustered like this on the ensemble members, we are in very good agreement. Now, this is where everything starts diverging. We start getting towards late Saturday into Sunday, and you see the divergence where these low pressure tracks could possibly go. Okay, so this is not good. When we start getting these split off, then we are not in good agreement at all. So we want clusters like this to be in good agreement. So this is why we're not basically putting out a forecast yet because there's still big discrepancies on where this low pressure could go. All right. So as we go forward, you can see the spread really starts diverging. We've got some model ensemble members basically having this low pressure more progressive in the pattern, so it's coming out pretty quick. Then we have some lingering back here into western Texas, trying to develop it further. All right. So then as we get towards Sunday, this is basically game time, and you have huge model discrepancies with low pressure just south of St. Louis to some hanging back all the way into northern Texas here. And even as we go forward into Sunday night, we still have, we have the progressive pattern up here with low pressure clusterings up here into parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, but then we have low pressures as far south as Louisiana. So we cannot discount the southern storm track yet. So that's why I was telling you, we have to wait for this storm to be sampled on Friday. You've probably seen a lot of your apps go warmer the past 12, 24 hours. We've seen some meteorologists basically jump on the board here that's going more north. But with this inconsistency of where the low could possibly track, you cannot put that out there. So this is just a GFS. Let's go over the Canadian and the European. All right, here is the 12Z Canadian ensembles here. This is where the handoff starts taking place. Low pressure starts developing out here towards Colorado and New Mexico. You can see Canadians a little bit further south with this. Nice clustering here. So really good agreement on where the low could possibly start developing. But then as we head just 6 hours after that, look at the spread here. We're talking probably 300-400 miles of discrepancy in low pressure tracks here. And then it starts converging a little bit more across Oklahoma into parts of southern Texas, which you look at the deterministic model, this has a low pressure up here in parts of Kansas. Now, there's a lot of clustering down here in parts of Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma, into parts of Texas, which would be indicative of that southern storm track, okay? So then as we get towards later on, see it starts diverging some more. So, but a big clustering across Oklahoma, across the Red River even. And then as we get closer in Sunday morning, huge discrepancies here. Low pressure almost up here. This is an ensemble member up here all the way up towards Kansas City, and then one all the way down into parts of southwestern Arkansas. That's a huge spread. Huge spread, and you see there's really no clustering anywhere, so we can't really deep dive into where this low track could possibly go. But with the Canadian, there's a lot of clustering in the southern track that we've been talking about down here into parts of central Arkansas, basically going through Mississippi. So that would mean more winter weather possibilities a little bit further south. So you can see the big spread of low pressures here. So that's why the models are still very inconsistent on where this track is going to be. All right, let's take a look at the European ensembles. This is the 12Z. You see nice clustering back here. This is basically a little bit further north solution. So then nice clustering back here. But this is, you can see it's starting to diverge a little bit further south, a little bit basically around the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. Nice clustering there. So decent agreement there. But then here we go, start to diverge. We have low pressure as far north as towards the middle of Kansas, and as far south as or southwest as parts of Texas Panhandle, West Texas. And you can see some progressive nature in some of these low pressures, and then some hang it back to try to develop it. All right, so as we go forward, huge spread of where the low tracks could be. Some around Little Rock, some as far north as central Missouri. All right, and some hanging back, like I said, with some of them trying to timing issues, stuff like that, hanging back into parts of Oklahoma. So we get towards Sunday afternoon. You see low pressures are clustered mostly across eastern Arkansas through Tennessee. Like I said, some are hanging back, some as far north as parts of eastern Illinois into southern Indiana, and as far south as parts of east central Arkansas. So huge spread in where this low track can go. Same here as we go into Monday. All right. So that's basically the latest as of right now. So it's like I said, the track is still up in the air on who could get a winter weather and who could not. All right, so we posted this in our supporter hub about 3 to 4 days ago on potential storm tracks, and this is still the case. All right, so it could end up basically right in between the northern track and southern track. Could still take that southern track. You saw some of those ensemble members even further south than what this far southern arrow actually is. So uncertain track means uncertain storm impacts. Northern track would mean more rain, more freezing rain, probably changing to rain across southern Missouri into northern Arkansas, and then through parts of Tennessee and Kentucky as well. And then severe weather could be possible with that low pressure tracking further north across parts of Louisiana into Mississippi. And then if this low pressure basically tracks further south, there's going to be more ice impacts further south, more snow impacts further south from Oklahoma through parts of northern half of Arkansas through Tennessee, Kentucky. So this is why we've been telling you all, and especially over the supporter hub, that we were expecting as this system pulled off of Japan that the track would start moving north, and modelologists, I want to call them, that track basically hinge forecasts on every 6 hours on models because they don't want to think about experience at all, is starting to really catch on this northern half or northern track. So that's why your apps and all that stuff are saying basically went from some parts of northern Arkansas went from snow to rain. So a lot of those models or a lot of those apps are just computer generated garbage. So you need to, they're good for watches and warnings. So that's great to have. But we're not going to get a good handle on the track of the system until probably Friday or Friday evening before this thing gets sampled and it comes on the West Coast. Okay. All right. So stay tuned with us. We will keep you informed of all the latest. Just want to go over all the different scenarios that could happen later this weekend. And a big cold blast is coming right behind this low pressure system. Monday, we could have wind chills below zero across parts of the area, single digits below zero, that is, for wind chills. And then the cold, this continues to load up, and we'll continue to have long range updates over the supporter hub basically every day. All right. So if you haven't joined, you can join. There'll be a link in comments. You can join, and there's a lot of great content over there that you'll never see on the public page. Have a great New Year's, everyone.